I don't need a crystal ball to see where this is heading. I just need to look at the numbers. And the numbers are already telling us something that most people don't want to talk about. Your money in retirement won't stretch as far as you think it will. We don't need to guess what the future looks like financially because it's already happening. I'm not saying you're going to completely run out of money in retirement. The real question we need to ask is, just how far is it going to stretch? You have money coming in, you're on the age pension, you might have super, you might have savings, but when you factor in inflation, the cost of living, and how costs are rising, things are shifting pretty fast, and it becomes clear that what feels comfortable now might not feel so comfortable in 10 or 15 years' time. So today I want to take an honest look at that. It is because the cost of living is going up faster than any pensions, any superannuation, any term deposits. They just can't keep up. Right now the age pension in Australia is $1,200 a fortnight. That's $600 a week to live on. And inflation, that word we keep hearing about, is running at 3.7%. The pension went up approximately 1.8% this year. So there you go, you don't even need a calculator to figure that out. 3.7 inflation, increase in pension, 1.8%. And we all know rents are sky high. An average one bedroom in Sydney these days, you're very lucky if you could get one under $500 per week. I don't know about the cost of renting a room everywhere, but in my local area, it's approximately $300 a week, and that doesn't get you your own bathroom. That's a shared bathroom. So about 4 out of 5 women in retirement in Australia who are renting are living way below the poverty line. And 23% of the women over 60 have no super at all. The video today isn't only about women renting in retirement. It's for women that own their own home. Some women have super, some have none, some have savings, some have none. But what I'm going to do here is to show you where we're going. What is it going to look like for many of us in 5 years or 10 years or 15 years time? So let's start with the age pension, because for most of us, that's our primary income. Lots of us don't have super or savings. The age pension in Australia is reviewed twice a year. It's reviewed in March and September. We just got an increase this March, and it was $22.20 per fortnight for a single woman. And that's, well, $11.10 a week. Are you excited? Well, don't spend it all at once. The previous increase in September before, 2025, was $29.70 a fortnight. That was a little bit better. We got about $14.85 a week back in September. So you with me? So this right now is where the math will make sense, and you might see why we're not really getting any further. As we said, the current annual inflation is 3.7%. The pension increase, 1.8%. The gap is roughly about 2% per year, and this is where the pension is falling behind. Over the 5 years, that compounds. Every year your pension buys a little bit less. Every single year it buys less. Every time the age pension got an increase, pensioners would often joke and say, wow, that buys an extra coffee or 2 per week. Well, the one we just got, I pay $6 for a coffee, and I have more than 1 a week. I have more than 2 a week quite often. It didn't cover 2 a week. So between 2021 and 2023 alone, cheese went up 27%, bread up 24%, milk up 23%, eggs up 20%, beef and lamb up over 10% in the last 1 year alone. And here's one of the really scary ones. Electricity costs rose 37% in the 12 months to February 2026. Since 2000, electricity prices have risen, wait for this, 206%. And yet the pension just went up an extra $11 a week. I don't know whether to laugh or cry. By owning your own home, and I'm talking about owning your own home without a mortgage, the pension will cover your basics. But don't forget, as we said, electricity is going up, groceries going up, healthcare is going up. They tell us that you need $595,000 for super for a single person to retire comfortably. And that assumes you own your own home. Scary, right? Most women have nowhere near that amount, so that means the pension has to stretch further every year. So some women watching this might have a little bit in super, they might have a little bit in savings. Let's talk about your super, let's talk about your savings, and where are they going? I'll strip it back so we can look at it simply. Depending on the statistics that you look at for women in retirement, you can make the super look higher than what it actually is. The averages are skewed by those women that retire with a much higher super. In reality, for those that do have super, it's probably more like 100 to 150,000 that they retire on. For some time it was recommended to make your super last, you should draw down about 4% per annum. But with today's cost of living increases, I don't think that's so realistic anymore. I think most women will be drawing down about 7% per year. So if your super's earning, let's take an average of 5% per year, and you're drawing down 7% per year or even 5% per year, you're either going backwards or you're not going forward. And this is before inflation is factored in. So if you retire at 67 with 150,000 in super and approximately you're drawing down about 7% per year, after 5 years that 150,000 is now 135,000. It's worth much less in real terms if you factor in inflation. After 10 years your 150,000 is now only 120,000. But do remember, that's in 10 years' time. 120,000 in buying power is a lot less than what it is today. And in your mid-80s, if you live to the average life expectancy, which in Australia right now is almost 85, you've only got 100,000 left. So you can see that your super is shrinking each year. But even more so, due to inflation, your buying power is shrinking faster. So let's have a look at some money in a savings account, a term deposit. Say you've got 80,000 in a term deposit. You think it's in the bank and it's safe and you think it's growing slowly. But in reality, you're living off that money. You might get 4% return from the bank or 4.5 if you're lucky. And if you're drawing down approximately 7% per year to top up your age pension, after 5 years, that 80,000 is about 70,000 left in your bank account. After 10 years, it's about 60,000. And by your mid-80s, that 80,000 is about 45,000 left. You might think, well, that's not so tragic. I've got money left in my bank account. It hasn't shrunk too terribly. But what a lot of people fail to do is factor in inflation. How much is that money going to be worth in real terms, in buying terms, later on, in 5 years, 10 years, or 15 years? It's not like you've suddenly run out of money. It's that your money is not going to stretch the way you hoped it would. And this is all based on a woman owning her own property free and clear. So you can imagine if you're renting or if you still have a mortgage, say your mortgage is over 100,000, that money's not going to last near as much as if you owned a home. And let's be real, this is only if life is smooth sailing, and as we age, we know it never is. So there's lots of financial incidentals that come along the way. And at times you are going to have to withdraw from your super, from your savings, lump sums. And that might be for home repairs, that might be for your car, that might be medical. All of these things can occur and probably will occur. You would be naive to think that you're going to float through 10 years where you never have any unexpected costs arise. And I know from personal experience just how much some of these things can cost. I've had plumbing issues in this house, and you're never talking hundreds of dollars, you're talking thousands of dollars. And you might be like myself, I have private health, but it only covers so much. And as we age, one of the big ones is dental work. Unfortunately, our teeth only last so long, and I don't think I know anybody over the age of 65 that hasn't had some dental problems, and some costly dental problems. Let's face it, all dental problems are costly. You might not be one of those women that just cross your fingers and hope for the best. You might have calculated approximately how long your super's going to last, but have you been honest about all of those unexpected costs? So the good news is about life expectancy. Well, it's good that we're living longer. That part's good. The average life expectancy for Australian women now is 85.1 years. I like that 0.1, we'll keep that. For men in Australia, it's 81.1 years. But of course, we all know women that are living well into their 90s. With medical science now, all the improvements, all the discoveries, people are living longer. I've always found this a bit curious. In America, the average life expectancy for a woman is 81 years. It's 4 years less than the Australian woman. I wonder if that's got to do with our health systems. So if you retire at 67, you've got approximately 18 more years. Now that's 18 more years of all the bills going up, 18 more years of electricity increases, grocery increases, and we've already proven that the age pension is barely keeping up now, if it's keeping up at all. And I think we're all aware that homelessness is growing in Australia, and I think most of us are aware that the largest group that are becoming homeless are older Australian women. You know, rents don't go down. Once rents go up, they just keep going up. And that's the same for everything. Has anyone seen electricity drop? I haven't. The age pension, yes, it increases twice a year, as we said, June, September. But we see what those increases are. It's just not enough. We know it's not enough. Just to be nerdy, back to some stats. In 5 years, if inflation averages 3% and the pension increases the average of about 1.8%, you're 6% behind further than you were today. So that's in 5 years. In 10 years, you're going to be over 12% behind in purchasing power on a fixed income that's already, right now, barely enough. What I'd like to know is, why isn't anyone talking about this? If I was able to Google these basic statistics and find out the math for myself, what are these politicians doing? I'm not here because I've got the answer. I wish I did have an answer. I'm just suggesting that we be realistic. I'm suggesting that we try and be prepared. Well, I don't know what exactly we can do. If anyone's got any ideas, please leave comments. I've had a couple of guys comment on my videos saying it's relevant to them as well. And I do realise that. And I'm not really intentionally trying to not talk to guys, and I will consider that in the future. I actually didn't think they'd be interested because I'm not a guru, I'm not a financial expert. I'm not here to give advice. And there are thousands of retirees in my position. And a lot of them are asking, so even if we do get some money, what do we do with our money? Where do we park our money? Where is the best return, the safest return? As you can see, a term deposit really isn't the answer. That's not really the best deal going. And superannuation, well, it goes up, it goes down. Thank you for watching. I'll try and bring some good news next time. But hey, the life expectancy, well, that was good news. I think that's good news.